I'm in disbelief right now. I'm in shock at the way that they handle the situation, and I am disgusted. And I don't use that word regularly, but I am truly disgusted with the way that this company has treated us and just put a huge stain on my trip to the Maldives.
We had to stop.
I lost my phone. I lost everything.
Good morning, everybody. It's early on February the 13th. I woke up pretty early today because I'm going on my whale shark tour. There was a little bit of drama last night where we thought that maybe the tour wouldn't go, and I was trying to see if maybe I could go on another tour company because they were also running one. But in the end, I ended up going with my hotel, who decided not to cancel the tour once I decided to go with them, because they had to raise the price to $150 per person because only 4 of us wanted to go on the tour when it's supposed to be 6 people. Usually the tour to see whale sharks and manta rays is $115, but yeah, I had to pay $150, which sucks because that's a big increase, especially US dollar. I've said it before, but it's just such a pain to do that exchange rate to New Zealand dollars. It's like 248 New Zealand dollars or something like that. So it's not cheap. This is very expensive. I know that I said that I'm trying to do budget friendly things, but if you want to see the whale sharks, that is one of the most expensive tours, and literally that was the number one thing I wanted to do here. So I did splurge, and I'm doing the whale sharks for $150. So hopefully it's going to be all worth it, and I'm going to see some beautiful marine animals today. But of course, I'm keeping my expectations in check because it's a wild animal and you cannot control whether you see them or you don't. But we're leaving in about half an hour at 7 a.m. So let's start our day today on the boat in search of whale sharks and manta rays. We've stopped at a random island. I don't know what it's called, but it's beautiful. It's got a beautiful view. We've just had our lunch. We had quite the rough boat ride to where you see the manta rays. Hopefully you can hear me over the waves, but it was really rough sea conditions, so they actually had to go a longer way. So instead of 1 hour, it took 2 hours. And that was really long because there wasn't much to look at. You know, the boat going like this. We finally got to where the manta rays were, but there were so many other boats because our boat left about an hour late. I did actually see the manta ray, so that was nice. I jumped in the water, I saw it immediately, and I had about 2 minutes with it. So that's what's kind of funny, is 2 hours in the boat from Guli to where you see them for 2 minutes with the actual marine animal, but it was beautiful. I didn't realize manta rays were so large, and they have these like massive gills in the front. I got one video of it, and I just feel like we're lucky to have seen the manta ray. And then something we did see that I didn't film was we saw dolphins on the way here. There was little dolphins, and one was like jumping up out of the water, which was pretty cool. Didn't capture that, but we saw dolphins and one manta ray, and now we are just kind of waiting to see if we can see whale sharks or not. So we tried to go to the spot right after the manta ray. We didn't see any whale sharks, and all the boats were there obviously waiting to see if there's a sighting. There wasn't. So then our boat decided to head to this island here so that we could have our lunch stop. We just had our rice, some juice and water. We're gonna do a bit of snorkeling. It's nice to be off the boat for a little bit as well. And then we're gonna go back to where we see whale sharks to hopefully see one. Because obviously it's not guaranteed. You're not guaranteed to see a whale shark, even if you're on a whale shark tour. It's all up to nature. So fingers crossed that we'll see one, but I just wanted to do a little midpoint check-in. It's just gone noon now. Hopefully the sea conditions improve, but I have to say it is a beautiful sunny day today, which is really, really nice because the Maldives have been kind of cloudy since I've gotten here. And so to have a sunny day is quite the treat. Very happy with that. Signing off from a random island in the Maldives. Don't scare them. Oh wow, it's a small island. This is a small island. The island keeps going and going. Hello everybody. Well, I wish that I was coming on here to tell you that I had a fantastic day today seeing whale sharks and manta rays, but unfortunately things took a terrible turn. If you can't tell, I've been crying. It's been the theme of the afternoon. So the last update you would have heard from me was on the beach, telling you that we were going to do another attempt to see the whale sharks. So we get back in the boat. The waves are really big at this point, and you know, I'm thinking like, what are we doing? We're kind of just circling. And the thing about the day is they just would not communicate with us. They wouldn't tell us what was going on. They wouldn't tell us what we were doing. And there were only 4 of us, so we were a super small group. It would have been very easy to communicate with us the updates. So apparently we got back in the boat, they assessed the sea conditions, and without telling us, they decided to abandon the plan to go back to where the whale sharks were because it was just too dangerous, and they decided to go all the way back to Guli and finish the tour. At this point, it was 1:30 p.m. and we had paid for the whole day. I paid $150 for this tour. It really was just 3 minutes in the water with a manta ray and a stop on an island for lunch. The rest of it, 5+ hours, was just driving in a boat in horrible sea conditions. I can't believe that I spent that much money to just be carted around. I got one video underwater today of a manta ray. The contrast between the first tour I went on and this one is insane. The biggest thing is that we were not given the warning that the sea conditions could be really rough. They just wanted to run the tour. We were told that the tour was going ahead at 10 p.m. And yes, we do want to go see whale sharks, but no, we don't want to be subjected to horrible sea conditions. And if you cancel, we would understand. Just be honest and tell us, and they didn't. We were not told in the morning that the delay was due to the sea conditions, and that's what they're trying to claim now. They're trying to tell us, oh, we switched it to 8 a.m. because of the sea conditions, and we told you that's why, and that's not what happened. We were actually told that it was because the food was delivered late. What the real reason is, we don't know. So at 10 p.m. they said, we're gonna go ahead, and that's when I paid for the tour. And so the real nightmare began when they canceled the second whale shark visit and just decided to book it back. And because the waves were so big, the boat just kept picking up and slamming down on the water, just picking up and slamming down. And I've got footage of me literally grimacing in pain because for 3 hours we were getting picked up and slammed down. I can't tell you the amount of pain that my spine is in from having to be subjected to that constant slamming in the big waves. Not to mention the physical pain I have from having to pull myself up on the back of the boat because the guys said when we were in the water with the manta ray that they forgot to pack the ladder. So I then had to crawl up the back of the boat, and I have bruises all over my hips. I have a scratch on my hip. I have bruises on my knees from having to pull myself up, which is pretty tough to pull yourself up out of deep water onto a floating boat in a strong current when everything's moving. And I did it, but I have so many bruises for that effort. So not only is my spine so sore from being slammed straight for 3 hours, we couldn't go at a fast speed because if we did, we would literally capsize. And then I have bruises on myself because the guides forgot to pack the ladder. That's not our fault, that's them, and it just made it that much more unenjoyable of a day out.
All the police were there. What the fuck?
So finally, after there's so much turmoil, I'm crying because I feel like I'm going to get thrown off the boat. I felt so unsafe. There was an Italian couple sitting behind me. They were freaking out. Their fear manifested in anger, and my fear manifested in terror and just crying. You know, even the Italian woman started crying at one point, and it was just so rough. By some grace, miracle of God, I did not get seasick, but I kept my eyes trained on the horizon, just like constantly, like stiff, and I was bracing, holding onto the boat, trying to hold on to everything so that every time we slammed, the impact wouldn't hurt my spine, but it still was hurting it, right? But I was just doing my best to try brace, and we're just slamming, and it's incessant, it's constant. At one point, it gets even more dramatic when a wave comes up over the front of the boat and washes a gush of water into the boat. We're in a small speedboat. This is crazy. The water's flooding. I have footage of everything happening. This guy had his backpack completely soaked, and he has all of these things in there that are ruined.
Stop, please.
We have to stop. We better go.
I lost all my phones, my wallet, everything. Everything is wet. Everything is wet. $1,000 for my phone. I lost my phone. I lost everything, my passport. Yeah, take pictures, please.
Yeah, okay, I know.
No, I want to stop in a island. In another island, the closest one. I lost everything, my passport, my wallet, my documents, my phone. It's not your fault, but now we have to stop somewhere. No, in another island, closer.
He's yelling, he's upset. The guide is trying to take a bucket to scoop the water out. All of a sudden, the alarms start going off in the boat. They're beeping, going off. Apparently, the water actually started to get to the electrical wiring at the back of the boat.
We will talk later, please. Bring us to the island, please. Don't worry about us.
Pure discomfort and just unsafe sea conditions. We were never once offered life jackets. Finally, we get to an island that wasn't Guli, but they said we ran out of fuel, so we had to get out of the boat. They had to put fuel in, then we got back on and finally made it to Guli around 5 p.m. 5+ hours driving in the ocean in a boat. 3 of those hours in painful, horrific conditions and like jarring slamming. Like my teeth clattered together from the impact of the boat slamming down onto the surface of the ocean. Insane sea conditions that I have not experienced in a very, very long time. I think One time I experienced it in Jamaica when I was a kid and my stepmother complained and we all got the tour excursion for free. Well, guess what? Here's the ending of the story that's just unfathomable to me. We get back to the hotel, we tell them that we had a terrible experience and that we want some kind of customer service, a refund, a partial refund. What are you willing to offer us? The four of us had a terrible time for half of the tour. They said it's against our policy to refund the trip once it's been conducted. Sorry, that was it. Just no understanding. They kept saying like, oh, we can't guarantee that you would see the whale shark. It's like, hello, that's not why we're upset. We were upset about not being communicated that the sea conditions were so terrible that half of the trip was going to be slamming down onto the ocean surface. That would have been really good to know at 10 p.m. when you were taking my $150. Their excuse is, in the morning, you could have said, I don't want to go, and you could have looked up the sea conditions and told us, and then we would have refunded you fully. But because you went on the boat, we're not going to refund you. We're not going to give you a partial refund. What we can offer you is a discount on a future excursion. I'm sorry, what? In what world? With the videos that you guys saw, what world is that the client's fault for not checking the sea conditions? I really wanted to make a positive video about the Maldives and going solo and having a great time and showing you how to do it. I can't make that video now. And it's really deeply upsetting because I thought I was gonna love it here, but after this experience, my whole time here now is like jaded. I just can't overlook the horrible customer service I got. I'm in disbelief right now. I'm in shock at the way that they handled the situation, and I am disgusted. And I don't use that word regularly, but I am truly disgusted with the way that this company has treated us, how they've handled us, and just put a huge stain on my trip to the Maldives. And yes, it's fresh, so I'm emotional, but this is the raw emotion. This is how I'm feeling right now on the day that it's happened, and I want to capture it all. I'm WhatsApping the manager who makes the decisions on if a refund is available, and they were just absolutely not budging. No, we're not going to refund you. No, I can't go against policy. Nope, once you go on the trip, that's it. Not even a partial refund, nothing. Just absolutely no understanding. They're trying to ask me to make a positive review of the first tour I went on. No, I'm not supporting, nor am I promoting a company that has terrible client service and they don't actually care about the well-being of their clients. You've seen the footage. You can make a judgment for yourself, but I will never recommend you to do Pearl Shine Resort hotel tours. Blaming the client for not checking the sea conditions is wild to me. As if I'm supposed to know sea conditions. Like, that should be communicated to me and I make an educated decision. Like I said, communication was zero from the start, so that wasn't their strong suit. And the fact that they're saying we would have given you a refund if you just told us before you went is just like ridiculous. How is that helping anything? So if you're in the Maldives, really think about the tours that you're doing, because at the end of the day, they're not for the client. They're all about the money. They're not really there for your well-being. And it's really sad to say that. This has really made me second guess coming back to this country. Everybody else on the tour also agreed that they're just in disbelief that nothing was done to try to recidify the horrible experiences that we had, the unsafe conditions of which the tour was conducted, just no responsibility taken by that company. So that is what happened to me today. Still haven't seen whale sharks. I'm so sick to my stomach about everything that happened. I'm not even having dinner tonight. I'm just going to bed. I have a huge headache and I just need to go to bed. If you listen to this whole thing, thank you. Obviously, this was my one bad experience, and you could potentially do a whale shark tour in the Maldives and have an amazing time, but also know that these bad experiences do happen. Thank you for listening and watching and letting me vent. I'll see you guys in the next update. Hello everybody, welcome to February 14th. It's actually Valentine's Day today. Just proof of what I went through. My whole body is in pain today. My back is so sore. My hips are sore. I've got bruises on my hips. I feel terrible. I've been crying so much. My eyes are puffy. I'm on pain meds right now. I have used up almost all of my Tylenol, anything that I brought with me. Look at how cute this pill container is. I got it from a Japanese dollar store called Daiso. I just organize my pills so I don't need to put them in like full pill containers. and bring them all separately. I can just have them all in one. I think that's so cute. Anyways, after having a sleep last night, I do feel better mentally. Yeah, not the way that I thought it would go. I have no intention of returning to the Maldives anytime soon. I won't say that I'll never come back to the Maldives. I'm actually just really wanting to leave, but my flight doesn't leave until late, like 8 p.m. And my boat from this island, Guli, to Male, the speedboat, is only at 4:15 p.m. I'm not really feeling the vibes. I'm not feeling the love here. As you can probably understand, I just really want to go home at this point. But actually, I'm not going home today. The plan is my flight is around 8:30 this evening. Then I fly to Colombo, Sri Lanka for my connection. And then I take my 11-hour flight from Colombo to Melbourne. And I'll be staying in Melbourne, Australia for one night because I have a 16-hour layover in Melbourne as part of this trip. And then I fly home to Wellington, New Zealand, where I live. So that is a very long journey, but I'm breaking it up by having a stay in a hotel in Melbourne where I can actually sleep in a bed and just have a nice, hopefully good rest before the final leg of my journey, which is only like a 2.5-hour flight from Melbourne to Wellington at that point. And if you have noticed the quality change, I am vlogging on my very good Sony camera because my iPhone, the storage is full and the Wi-Fi in this hotel is so bad that all my photos and videos are not syncing onto iCloud because the connection's just too slow, that I can't use my iPhone to vlog right now because I have no storage on my phone. Thankfully, last night, the hotel manager, who is separate from the excursion manager, so the excursion manager is the one that refused to give us any kind of compensation for what we went through. But the hotel manager is a different guy. He was actually telling us if it was up to me, I would be refunding you all 50%. But it's not up to me. He actually knocked on my door at 10 p.m. I'm really sorry for what happened to you, and I know that you have the speedboat booked for 4:15, so we're gonna let you have the room for free until 4:15 p.m., a late checkout. It was a nice gesture from the hotel. I have to give thanks to where thanks is due. I do appreciate them letting me have this room until 4:15. So that's the update. Thanks for listening. I feel like this has turned into a very long story time vlog instead of just a fun travel adventure vlog. I am very real on my channel, so I'm not gonna just sugarcoat or ignore all of the bad things that happen. I document the great, incredible things like I did on the first day that I was here, but I also document the horrible things that happen. I think it's important to share a well-rounded image of every place that I visit. That's the way the cookie crumbled for the Maldives. So update, it's now just about 11 a.m. and it's so windy, pouring rain, and not to be petty, but it kind of reflects my current attitude on how I feel about the Maldives. And I'm just writing in my journal and I'm happy. I actually asked the hotel staff about the 4:15 speedboat to the airport. I was like, is it gonna be okay or do I need to catch an earlier boat? And he's like, it's fine. The speedboat to the airport is a bigger boat. It can handle the waves. I'm gonna trust his advice. A little bit nervous about the boat ride to the airport because I am so sore still. Okay, so I'm starting to pack now. It's just gone 2 p.m. and it's literally still raining outside. The weather is so stormy. The clouds are looking very ominous. It's very gray and it just keeps raining on and off. I really don't want to eat on the island. I don't like the restaurant next door, and it's really the only restaurant that I was able to discover on this island because I skipped dinner last night. I didn't have dinner, and so I'm trying to skip lunch. I'd rather just stay in my room and then go eat at the airport when I get my boat back. I took out way too much rupiah, the local currency. I didn't know how much to take out, but because I barely ate on the island and both my lunches for 2 days were part of the tour, I barely spent any rupiah. I didn't buy any souvenirs. I just wanted to talk about the fact that I traveled a carry-on for this entire trip, and I just wanted to give an update that I do not regret that decision. Not once did I think, oh, a backpack would be nice. Maybe just one road that I was on. Do you hear that? That's the rain. Started up again. You're never safe when you go outside. You think that it's gonna stop. No, it just comes and goes on and off. There was one time I was thinking, oh, this is a bit inconvenient, but it was for such a short amount of time that I needed to walk on a sandy road and sort of drag my suitcase a little. It really still was worth it to have the wheels. And even on the local buses in Sri Lanka, I was totally fine throwing my little carry-on on the front of the bus where the driver sits, and that's where you can put your luggage. I really think you can do Sri Lanka with a small carry-on, but traveling light definitely goes a long way. I really appreciate everything that I brought from home. I'm really happy with the 3 pairs of shoes that I brought with me, because really that's all I needed the last month. The only thing is I definitely could have cut back on the amount of clothing I brought, and I actually wish that I had brought another pair of long flowy trouser pants. I was missing that. I only brought one, and they're printed floral ones, and I was missing just a nice neutral flowy pant, because sometimes in the evenings I don't want to have to cover myself in DEET, and if you have pants on, you're less likely to be eaten by mosquitoes. But that's about it. Everything else I was happy with. Maybe I would have preferred like one more bikini top, but other than that, I think I did fairly well with my clothing. I just think I could have reduced it a little in some areas and added in others. Packing's going well. I'm gonna change into my airport outfit now. Hello everybody, and suddenly it is February 15th and I am in Melbourne, Australia. I don't know, it just blows my mind how I can start off an adventure in the Maldives, and then a couple flights later and some hours later, like 12, 13 hours later, I'm in a completely other side of the world here in Australia. And this is my room for the night. I just booked a very cheap rate at the Atlantis Hotel in downtown Melbourne. Yeah, it's very nice, it's clean. I'm just giving you the tour with me in it because it's an internal room and it's very dark in here. So that's the only drawback. But yeah, one night I reckon this will do me fine. I have a 16-hour layover here in Melbourne, which was okay because I've never been to Melbourne and I kind of was curious to see what it's like. So I just paid 40 Aussie dollars to take the Sky Bus from the airport to come to the city, and that included a return fare tomorrow when my flight leaves to Wellington, $40 return ticket or $23 one way, and that was really convenient. It was only like a 25 to 30 minute bus ride, if that. My hotel was walking distance. And that's it. This wraps up my whole adventure away in Sri Lanka and the Maldives. Some things to note: there was some really interesting dynamics at the airport. Every time I went through to like a gate agent, not even like somebody who's at the gate to board the plane. There was one instance where this happened there, but mostly just to check into the flight. In the Maldives, I got so much questioning there. It wasn't like it was customs, it was just a check into the flight. They questioned my residency in New Zealand. They wanted me to provide more proof than the actual physical visa letter, which is like wild to me. I've never had a check-in agent ask me for more proof and like look at my passport and see that it says Canada and question why I'm not going to Canada. Like, I can travel? I don't know. It was just a really weird experience. I just wanted to mention that to just anticipate some extra questioning in the Maldives for some reason. And when I was boarding my flight from Colombo to Melbourne, I got the same exact questions like, why is your passport for Canada but your final destination's Wellington? Like, who cares? I'm getting on the flight. I've already proved I had a visa. I don't understand why that has to be a question. People can travel. What if I was just going to New Zealand on a holiday? Other people can live in other countries. That just drove me insane, actually, because I'm like, what kind of question is that? Why aren't you going to Canada? Well, I'm allowed to live in other places, right? So just something to keep in mind when you go to that part of Asia. Definitely, I would recommend you to print out your flight itinerary. So the only way the check-in agent let me go without having to fight for proving my residency in New Zealand is that I showed her my flight itinerary, which clearly stated that I flew from Wellington to Sri Lanka. And then finally she was like, oh, okay, that's fine, because obviously I had come from New Zealand. So I actually took out 2,500 rupiah and I'm coming home with like 2,000. But now I have to go exchange that back. I recommend that you may not necessarily need rupiah because a lot of the time the menu is in US dollars and rupiah. And if it's easier for you to get US dollars and you don't want to pay the ATM fee to get rupiah out in the Maldives, then I just say go for the USD. That's really all you need. But anyways, those are just the top tips that I can think of right now. And maybe you have more context now to book your own Maldivian holiday if you want to do that. Thank you so much for watching this vlog series. I hope that you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!